Many have struggled to understand why Chief Obafemi Awolowo, one of the most revered politicians of the 20th century Nigeria, was arrested, tried, and jailed, and what finally led to his sudden death in 1987. While some speculate that he committed self-murder, others believe he died of natural cause while brushing his teeth in the toilet. In this video, I will explain the trial and detention of Chief Obafemi Awolowo and the true circumstances surrounding his death. Please come with me. Welcome to this edition of Hispu Media. My name is Gabriel Adidia. But before we continue with this story, let me invite you to take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Hispu Media. It will help us create more videos for your viewing pleasure. Thank you. Jeremiah Obafemi Awolowo was born on March 6, 1909 in the sleepy town of Ikenne, located in what is now Ogun State, Nigeria. He was born into modest family circumstances, the only son of David Sopolu Awolowo, a farmer and part-time sawyer, who was also a devout Wesleyan Christian. His mother, Mary Efunyele Awolowo, was a strong, enterprising woman who sold plantain and palm produce to support the family. But tragedy struck the family very early. In 1920, when Obafemi Awolowo was only about 11 years old, his father died from smallpox complications. Suddenly, the boy who had once walked to school with slippers now had to walk barefoot. His dream of an uninterrupted education now seemed impossible. To survive and keep up with school, the young Obafemi Awolowo undertook odd jobs. He hawked firewood and plantains, served as a houseboy, and did menial labor across different towns. Awolowo also learned typing and shorthand, tools that would prove invaluable later. Despite the hardship in the family, Awolowo passed through St. Saviour's Primary School, Ikenne, and later transferred to Imo Wesleyan School in Abeokuta. He then gained admission into the prestigious Baptist Boys High School, BBHS, in Abeokuta, a training ground for many future Nigerian leaders. At BBHS, Awolowo began to stand out not only for his brilliance, but also for his debating skills and disciplined nature. He once wrote that he read the Bible twice, cover to cover, before he was 15 and drew inspirations from figures like Lincoln, Macaulay, and Gandhi. After completing high school in the late 1920s, he trained as a teacher at Wesley College, Ibadan. Thereafter, he taught briefly at Abeokuta before moving into clerical work to make ends meet. In 1937, Awolowo ventured into journalism and editing with the Nigerian Worker. He contributed to the Nigerian Times, the weekly service through which he expressed his views on nationalism, workers' rights, and Pan-African unity. In 1949, Awolowo started his own publication, the Nigerian Tribune, which he used to spread nationalist consciousness among Nigerians. Meanwhile, in 1949, after serving for years, Awolowo sailed to England to study law at the University of London and was called to the bar by the Honourable Society of the Inner Temple on the 19th of November 1946. The journey was financed partly through the support of friends and later the Beomo Oduduwa, a Yoruba cultural organization he co-founded. He enrolled at the University of London as an external student and was later admitted to the Inner Temple. While in London, he authored Path to Nigerian Freedom in 1947, a landmark political treatise that laid out a federal structure for post-colonial Nigeria. He returned to Nigeria in 1947, a different man armed with legal skills, a political mission, and a Pan-African outlook. On March 21, 1951, Awolowo established the Action Group AG, a political party built on the foundation of Yoruba nationalism and social democracy. He became the leader of government business and Minister of Local Government and finance in the Western region, and in 1954 he became Premier of the Western region. As Premier, Awolowo's achievements were transformative. He introduced free primary education for all children and free health care for children up to the age of 18. He launched Nigeria's first television station, the Western Nigerian Television, constructed Liberty Stadium in Ibadan, and built Cocoa House, the tallest building in West Africa at the time, and established industrial estates and cooperative societies. The Western region under his leadership became a model of progress and modern governance. However, that would soon change as tension within his party led to a bitter split. The resulting political crisis in the Western region turned violent and chaotic, leading to the arrest of Chief Awolowo. But here is what happened. For context, by 1959, Nigeria had held its first federal elections, and Awolowo's Action Group AG was now in the opposition at the national level, having lost to the Northern People's Congress NPC coalition led by Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa. But his insistence on strong regional autonomy, fiscal responsibility, and social programs set him apart from the ruling NPC. Meanwhile, the Action Group retained power in the Western region, but internal disagreement soon erupted. The friction between Awolowo and his deputy, Chief Ladoke Samuel Akintola, became public and bitter. Akintola, accused of leaning towards the NPC and betraying party principles, was expelled by the Action Group leadership. But Akintola refused to go quietly, and with federal backing, he fought to retain the premiership. But the result was chaos and more chaos. Between 1962 and 1963, the Western region descended into political violence. Parliamentary sections turned into fistfights. Supporters clashed on the street. Newspapers labeled it Operation Wetie, a grim reference to the practice of pouring petrol on political opponents and setting them on fire. This led to the eventual declaration of a state of emergency in the region on May 29, 1962. Following the state of emergency in 1962, Awolowo and several of his top heads were arrested and charged with plotting to overthrow the federal government by force. The key accusations was that Awolowo was building a parallel army, acquiring arms, and soliciting support from Ghana under Kwame Nkrumah to topple the government. To neutral observers, the charges seemed politically motivated. Many critics, including foreign observers, questioned the timing and the evidence. But the federal government under Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa pressed on. The trial was held in Lagos under tight security. During the proceedings, the government's key witness, Godwin Debo, a former Action Group youth member, claimed that he had attended secret meetings where rebellion was planned, but his credibility was repeatedly questioned. Awolowo, ever the legal mind, took an active role in his own defense. He insisted that the Action Group was committed to peaceful democratic change and argued that the so-called revolutionary meetings were nothing more than strategy sections for political survival. Despite the inconsistencies in the evidence, on September 11, 1963, the judge, Justice George Showemimo, convicted Awolowo and 17 others of treasonable felony. During his sentence, Awolowo said, and I quote, "I welcome any sentence that may be imposed on me. My only concern is not for myself, but that my imprisonment would do harm to Nigeria." What do you think about this statement? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Meanwhile, Awolowo was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment with hard labor. While announcing Awolowo's sentence, something really interesting happened. Justice George Showemimo of the Lagos High Court, who was visibly emotional, made a shocking statement. He said, and I quote, "My hands are tied by the law, but my conscience is troubled. If I had the power, I would not send a man of your caliber to prison." Chief Obafemi Awolowo began serving his sentence at Broad Street Prison in Lagos, but was soon transferred to Calabar Prison in the east, far from his political base. The question is, was this for fear that his supporters might storm the prison to release him? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. While in prison, Awolowo remained intellectually active. He read voraciously, kept up with political news, and wrote letters to his wife, children, and supporters. He also wrote part of his political memoir, Adventures in Power, while he was incarcerated. One of the most tragic moments during his imprisonment was the death of his first son, Chief Awolowo, in a car crash in 1963. Shegun was a promising young lawyer and the family's pride. Prison authorities initially delayed informing Chief Obafemi Awolowo, and when they finally did, he was not allowed to attend the burial. Despite his suffering, he remained composed and resilient. His wife, Hannah Idowu Didiolu Eshaidi Awolowo, known as a jewel of inestimable value, became his strongest pillar of support. She visited regularly, campaigned tirelessly for his release, and held the family and his political movement together. In July 1966, following two military coups and the collapse of the First Republic, General Yakubu Gowon assumed leadership of the country on August 1, 1966. He was a 31-year-old military officer seeking national unity. Recognizing Awolowo's intellectual prowess and popularity, Gowon ordered his conditional release 2 days after taking power, and later appointed him Federal Commissioner for Finance and Vice Chairman of the Federal Executive Council in 1967. He resigned from this position in 1971. Awolowo's return to public service shocked many, but also restored his national image. From prison wars to the heart of federal power, he became a key figure in managing Nigeria's economy during the bloody Biafran War. Meanwhile, during the Nigerian Civil War, Awolowo was instrumental in managing wartime economy. He introduced the Naira and prevented Nigeria from falling into debt. His policies helped in stabilizing the economy during and after the conflict. However, his role in the Biafran War remains controversial, especially in the East, where his support of the food blockade strategy has been criticized as callous. On July 28, 1969, Awolowo made the following remarks: "All is fair in war, and starvation is one of the weapons of war. I don't see why we should feed our enemies fat in order for them to fight harder." Yet, to many others, Awolowo was seen as a pragmatic architect of Nigeria's financial survival. Much later, Chief Obafemi Awolowo returned to electoral politics in the Second Republic, founding the Unity Party of Nigeria (UPN) in 1978. The UPN promoted free education, free healthcare, and integrated rural development. He ran for president in 1979 and again in 1983, but was defeated both times by Shehu Shagari of the MPN. The controversial Supreme Court case, Awolowo vs. Shagari, upheld Shagari's victory in a decision that many believe was politically skewed. After the 1983 military coup, Awolowo retired from partisan politics and focused on writing, reflecting, and advising. He published the first volume of his memoir, Adventures in Power, in 1985, and was preparing the second volume at the time of his death on May 9, 1987. Now, talking about Awolowo's death, for decades it was believed that Papa Awolowo died of natural cause and peacefully too. But recent reports suggest something untoward may have happened. So, let's look at the speculations. Some reports suggest that Chief Obafemi Awolowo died by committing suicide to prevent a potential military uprising which he and his allies were allegedly planning to lead against the regime of General Ibrahim Babangida. The aim was to stop Babangida from holding onto power for life. However, their plot was allegedly betrayed by one of the conspirators who leaked the details to the military. When exposed, Babangida reportedly confronted Awolowo and threatened him with imprisonment or exile. But before his death, Awolowo allegedly reconvened his inner circle, where the traitor was identified as Chief Lateef Jakande, former governor of Lagos State. Although Jakande denied any betrayal or conflict with Awolowo, evidence reportedly implicated him. Subsequently, Awolowo is said to have taken poison. Officially, however, it was reported that he died while brushing his teeth in the bathroom. Meanwhile, in an interview on Edmond Obilo's State Affairs, Chief Obafemi Awolowo's daughter, Dr. Tokunbo Awolowo Dosomu, believed her father may have died of what she described as sudden death syndrome or a catastrophic event that happened in a bathroom. She, however, explained that no one will ever be able to explain what really happened in a bathroom accurately. Chief Awolowo was buried in a mausoleum at his home in Ikenne, now a museum. He received Nigeria's highest national honor, GCFR, and had several universities, roads, and institutions named after him, including the Obafemi Awolowo University in Ile-Ife. He is also featured in 100 Naira notes in Nigeria. His death marked the end of an era, but his ideas, policies, and legacy continue to influence Nigeria's politics to this day. Click here for the story of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, the president who escaped death during the January 1966 coup. For other interesting stories, please click here. Don't forget to book the like button on this video, subscribe, and share this with your friends and family. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Peace.